Welcome to Community Checkup. I'm Kim Sharpe, and I'm so excited for today's show. We're here at the Cupboard in Old Town Fort Collins, and this store just feels like a giant toy store for people like me who like to cook and bake and eat. But during the holidays, all those things can add up to a lot of extra calories and pounds. Fortunately, we have some friends waiting for us in the kitchen who are going to help us learn how to make the holidays healthier. Joining me today is Virginia Clark. She's a wellness dietitian with the University of Colorado Health. And Rebecca Washaw, she's getting her master's in nutrition at Colorado State University. So you both have a lot of information and a lot of education to help me understand how to be healthier throughout the holidays.
So today we have a party buffet here. These are foods that you're often going to see at your typical holiday party.
Looks like the typical party to me.
And it can often be a challenge to find healthy things to eat at a party. Kim, we're going to need your help. We've got a plate for you here, and what we'd like you to do is just go through this party line, picking out the foods that you think a typical person would eat at a holiday party.
Okay, let's go. Grab some Ritz crackers. Ooh, that pie looks good. I'm going to take this really big piece. And a couple cookies. I love these ones with the great big blob of frosting on top. And I love cheese. Being from Wisconsin, eh? I'll take a couple pieces of fruit, maybe a couple raspberries. And I like some vegetables. Just take a few here. No vegetable is complete without some dressing. There we go. It's looking better all the time.
All right, can I get you some eggnog?
I would love some eggnog.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Great. I am ready to go.
Doing just kind of a quick tally in my head, I'm going to estimate that you probably have around 1,600 calories on your
serious?
plate. I'm serious.
Wow.
That's a lot of calories, Kim. What if we try this again?
Okay.
I am going to ask Rebecca to help us out.
Okay.
Rebecca, do you think you can grab a plate and go through the line and fill your plate with some foods, and then we're going to just do a little bit of comparison?
Really loves vegetables, so I'm going to add a couple of those to my plate here. Maybe some nuts and some fruit. Love strawberries. Maybe a couple pieces of cheese. I want something sweet. I'm going to have a piece of pie, but that seems like an awful big piece. Maybe if I cut that in half. And then a little bit of salsa for my vegetables. And a little bit of hummus. I definitely want to try some eggnog. Perfect. All right, how did I do?
Wow, Rebecca, you did a great job. This looks like you still got a full plate. Looks like it's plenty to fill you up. You've also got some eggnog. Doing a quick tally of approximately how many calories you have here, I would guess you have half the calories that Kim chose on her plate. So I would guess you probably have around 700-800 calories here. So Rebecca, what were you thinking about when you went through and chose the foods at the party?
The first thing that I did is I drew an imaginary line down my plate. If I divided it in half, could I make half my plate fruits and vegetables? And there's so many delicious colors and variety on the table. Really just be mindful of the foods that are on the table and only take the ones that you really want to eat. Don't waste calories on foods that are just kind of mediocre.
Do you have any other ideas for how I can reduce the amount of calories on my plate? I'm feeling pretty bad here.
Rebecca actually has a smaller size plate, and you have a big plate, Kim. Actually, in the last couple decades, the diameter of plates has increased about 10 to 20%. If you think about grabbing a small plate instead of the large plate, you will automatically choose less food.
Okay.
And so the next tip is actually using a red plate instead. Some researchers have shown that using a red plate can help you stop eating sooner.
I wonder if that's because stop signs are red.
Could be.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
good
you know
question.
what I'm going to have in my purse when I go to every party? A small red plate.
Another thing you can put in your purse is a set of chopsticks.
Okay.
If you use chopsticks, or you can just eat with your non-dominant hand, so I'm right-handed. So if I eat with my left hand or if I eat with chopsticks, that also mentally tells me to slow down, and you can eat up to 30% less just by using your non-dominant hand or a pair of chopsticks.
That's awesome.
So another great tip is to get your tennis shoes out before you go to the party. Getting some exercise not only helps you burn calories, but it helps you really feel good about your body, and so you may be less likely to put some of the junk food in.
How far would I have to walk to burn off everything on my plate?
You know, you would have to go to a party 16 miles away if you wanted to walk to that party and burn off everything on that plate.
Wow. All right, I will lace up my shoes.
One final tip related to parties. Bring your own healthy dish.
So you do have some recipes for us to perhaps make and share at our own holiday gathering.
Yes, we do. For viewers out there, our website is www.pvhs.org/healthyu. You'll be able to find lots of healthy recipes on there that you could take to a party and really enjoy the food there. We've got a few that we're going to try out today.
Virginia, I am always looking for a healthy recipe to serve at my holiday gatherings, and one that I can sneak by the people who may not want to eat healthy. So what do you have for me?
So our first recipe today is mashed cauliflower potatoes.
That sounds awesome.
It's a great substitution where you can mash cauliflower, and it actually tastes a lot like mashed potatoes.
Okay.
So this is a really simple recipe. We're just going to take 1 head of cauliflower, wash it, cut it up. We're going to steam it with 3 cups of chicken broth. This is a low sodium chicken broth. You could also substitute a vegetable broth if you'd like, and 3 cloves of garlic. We're going to get this boiling, and then we're going to let it simmer for about 15 minutes. Once it's done simmering, it's just going to be fork tender, and then after that we're going to drain it. So just drain it in a colander and reserve about 2 to 4 tablespoons of the broth. We're going to need that later for mashing it.
So Virginia, the cauliflower's been cooked and drained. Now what?
Okay, next step is to blend it together. So we've got our steamed garlic and cauliflower. We're just going to put this.
We have a rogue piece of cauliflower.
All right, we're going to put that in there. We're also going to put in just a little bit of the broth, Kim.
Okay.
We're going to try to blend this until it's nice and smooth and creamy.
I can't wait to taste this. A little more moisture?
I think we do. Let me scrape down the sides just a little bit. Okay, go ahead and add in a little bit more of the broth. So you want to cream this until it gets the consistency that you like in mashed potatoes.
All right, that looks good.
Okay, now we're going to put that into our dish. Then we're going to add in some chives and some parsley.
Here comes the parsley and the chive.
With this, you can add in green onions.
Maybe some leek.
Absolutely, you could do leeks. You want to add in a little bit of salt and pepper, your taste preference.
Right.
And you can stir these in all together, or you can just use these as a garnish on the top and let people stir in themselves. But go ahead and stir it in and let's see how we do. Now, one thing you could do, Kim, is you could do half cauliflower, half potatoes, and just do a half and half blend.
And I might be able to sneak it by more people that way.
Absolutely, yes. You can also add in a little bit of butter, but it's not going to be as heavy as the traditional mashed potatoes with a lot of cream and butter and salt and pepper.
Okay, now for my family, they want bacon bits.
You can top with a few little bacon bits, that would be just fine.
Okay, there we go.
One of the great things about this dish, in addition to having lots of great fiber, good nutrients, antioxidants, which can help prevent cancer, is that it also helps save you calories. So if you compare a cup of the mashed cauliflower to a cup of mashed potatoes, you're going to save about 100 calories by going with the cauliflower.
Can I taste this?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Wait, yeah.
What do you think?
That is awesome. That is so good.
Good.
Love that.
And these recipes are on our website. That's the pvhs.org/healthyu.
All right, Rebecca, what kind of recipe do you have for us?
Well, today we are going to be making a beautiful fall salad, and it's featuring our seasonal pears. And we're going to have a little bit of candied pecans and some really creamy feta cheese.
I love feta cheese.
And I made a homemade dressing, which we'll talk about. But I wanted, before we even begin, to just talk about composing a salad.
Okay.
And when I make a salad, I really like to think about all the flavors that I'm using. And greens in general, they're a little bit bitter, and so I like to add a bit of sweetness, and that's going to come today from the pears that we're using, and these are Bartlett pears, and from the candied pecans. We're going to finalize all the flavors by adding a little bit of acidity from the vinegar. So the acidity from the dressing, the sweetness from the pears, and the bitterness in the greens, it's just like an explosion of flavor in your mouth. It's really good.
I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about how to make this dressing. I like to make my own because typically when you're making things in your own home, in your own kitchen, you're going to use less salt and less sugar than you would find in the dressings in the store. So today I used about 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, and I used about 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, a teaspoon and a half of mustard, and teaspoon and a half of sugar, little pinch of salt and pepper, and just a little bit of garlic. I like to use extra virgin olive oil because it's a heart-healthy fat. It's an unsaturated fat, unlike butter, which is saturated, and we try to limit how many saturated fats that we eat on a daily basis. So all those ingredients, I just measured them right into a measuring cup, and I'm going to give them a quick whisk. So we have our greens. They have been washed already. I'm going to take my pears and just add them to the top of the salad.
How many did you use? How many pears?
I used about 6 Bartlett pears. This would feed easily 6 to 8 people. I'm going to add in my candied pecans.
Okay.
And for the pecans, I just took raw pecan halves and added about a tablespoon or 2 of sugar and just got them coated in the pan. You could also use maple syrup and that would taste great, or even honey is really delicious as well. And that was about 1/2 cup of nuts.
Okay.
And this is about 4 ounces of feta cheese. Before I serve my salad, actually dress it in the bowl and then serve it already dressed.
Okay.
And we'll toss everything together. When you're using seasonal fruits, they're so much cheaper than buying them out of season, almost 60% cheaper. Pears are in season for the fall, as are apples, and they both make great additions to salad.
Oh, the moment of truth, the moment of truth. Okay.
It's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sweetness, the acidity,
Awesome.
wonderful.
It's the holidays. Some things are only around one time a year. How can I still enjoy those things without feeling really guilty?
Well, you know, I think when it comes to the holidays, it's a lot about being mindful. And so I think most people are pretty surprised by the number of calories that are in things. In fact, if you had to guess, how many calories do you think are in a cup of eggnog?
I would say a couple hundred.
A couple hundred.
Yeah.
There are a little more than a couple hundred in 1/2 cup of eggnog.
Seriously?
So regular eggnog is usually about 200 to 250 for just 1/2 cup.
And 1/2 cup is nothing.
It's 4 ounces. If we were going to fill this glass up, it would go right down to there.
Wow.
Now, if you wanted to do a full cup, of course, you have to double those calories.
Uh-huh.
In fact, if you wanted to add a little bit of liquor to your eggnog, a full cup of eggnog, and you're adding a shot of liquor, which is to this line right here, adds another 96 calories. You're looking at a 500 calorie drink.
That's like more than a meal.
That's more than some sweet treats.
Yeah.
I could have another piece of pie for that.
Okay.
There's about 1/3 of the calories in coconut eggnog as you would find in a regular eggnog. And it tastes delicious. A lot of these drinks, they have a lot of calories in them. If we were doing a regular old pumpkin spice latte in 16 ounces, there are 380 calories.
Wow. Just for a coffee.
Just for a coffee.
Okay.
Now in comparison, if we went down and did a smaller portion size, maybe 12 ounces, you can substitute sugar-free syrup options instead of the full sugar, do a non-fat milk instead of a full fat milk, and believe it or not, we can actually get this coffee drink down to 120 calories.
Okay, that's much more reasonable. All right, so what about wine and beer? I would prefer wine actually, but why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm an avid wine drinker myself. I really enjoy drinking wine. But I have to say, most people aren't quite aware of what a portion size is for a glass of wine. 5 ounces is considered a single serving of wine. And if we were to look at that on the glass, that's about right up to there. Most of us, including myself, pour a little bit larger pour, and that would be a 10-ounce pour. And if you get up to about the mid part of a wine glass, you're looking at about 250 calories.
So that's another 2.5 miles that I have to walk.
Exactly. And so I think the trick with wine is just maybe doing a slightly smaller portion size and slowing it down a little bit. Now with the beer, most bottles of beer are 12 ounces, and that's considered a single serving for beer. And just to show you on the glass, that's about where 12 ounces falls.
All right, but when you go out, they're totally full to the top,
You
right?
go out, they
Yeah.
fill the pint glasses all the way to the very top. You're looking at about 150 calories for the 12-ounce pour, and when you get up to the 16-ounce pour, you're getting closer to just a bit over 200.
And the average person drinks, what, 2 or 3 beers when they go out?
Exactly. So I think the message here, Kim, is a little bit about moderation, just looking at those portion sizes and taking the time to eat more like a gourmet foodie.
Right.
Really sipping
Right.
and smelling and savoring
Right.
every single bite that you take in. Substitute a different brand or a different product that's going to fulfill that flavor that you want, but maybe is less calories, like the coconut eggnog versus the regular full-fat eggnog.
You had mentioned how, in order to burn off these calories, you're going to have to do a lot of walking.
Right.
Something that you can do is try to fit in small bursts of physical activity throughout your day. Try doing things like parking in the back of the parking lot and walking into work. Try taking the stairs instead of the elevator. And each one of those little bursts of physical activity all contribute to better health overall. The holiday season is meant to be really fun. And we encourage people to focus more on relationships. Those are the kind of memories that are going to be a lot more meaningful than just focusing all of your efforts on food.
Well, I want to thank you both for being here with me today and for sharing these tips about how to make the holidays healthier. And I want to thank the Cupboard for letting us use their amazing space. Thank you to the University of Colorado Health for sponsoring our show, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy holidays!